So, Lynnlee, man, it's been a little while since you've been on the show, and a lot's happened since you've been on the show. And we named the last episode you were on, "Pissed Off Americans," because we're really pissed off, kind of.
Right.
And man, I've had a little bit of time to reflect on things. As you know, Donald Trump. There was an attempted assassination of Donald Trump on Saturday. And, man, I didn't know how to feel about it at the time that it happened. It shocked me that something like that happened. It didn't really shock me at who it happened to, but it kind of shocked me that something like that was able to happen, and that people actually want to do those things these days. And the sight, the sounds, everything just, I hated every bit of it, man. And it doesn't matter who you're voting for. It doesn't matter which side you're on.
Right.
Dude, it made me incredibly sad. I remember getting goosebumps. I didn't cry, but I remember getting goosebumps, and the hair on the back of my neck stood up, because I know things changed that day, man.
Yeah, same with me. I didn't cry. I wasn't sad. I was more angry that it could happen. Well, the failure of the security was a big issue for me. And I was in the military. I was a VIP security in South Korea.
Yeah, you were MP, right?
Right. And and that was simple security. This is on a larger scale that should have been way more secure. There was no
It was a
way.
direct line of sight. The rooftop from where that guy was, it was a direct line of sight to the stage where Donald Trump was at. And it wasn't even 300 yards, man.
No, it was 160 yards, I believe. We
Which
found
is
out now that local law enforcement was inside the building, not
Yeah.
outside surrounding the perimeter. None of that makes sense to me.
No, and I don't want to bang the conspiracy drum.
I don't either.
But
It was a failure, is all I'm saying.
I do want to beat the incompetence drum.
Right.
I'm actually talking to a guy tomorrow, and I'm so upset about this, brother, that I've got a ton of shows recorded, and I'm putting this out this Friday. I've talked to numerous people on the left and the right, and nobody's particularly happy about what happened. And it all boils down to a lot of incompetence at a large scale. It's not a small scale. This is something that was overlooked by many people.
Right.
And I think the first thing that was missed came from like the scouting crew. The advanced. They have people that go out and scout these places as they book them, so they can give them a security assessment.
It just came out an hour or so ago that the kid's parents had notified local police officers that he was missing with the weapon.
No shit. And I'd have talked to a lot of people about and analyzed a lot of stuff myself. It was a communication issue within the PD. I'm assuming. I'm assuming that it was a large part an issue on Secret Service as well. But
there should have been a command center that at least communicated across the board to the three agencies that were there: the FBI, Secret Service, and the local law enforcement.
yeah.
Should have been a command center at least that communicated between the three. If they couldn't communicate
a
with each
liaison,
other.
yeah. And like it or not, it should have been within Trump's own camp. A liaison within Trump's own camp that could coordinate between all three.
Right.
And private security should have been involved as well. Man, it's so tough to look back on these things and assign blame. What I'd like to do actually is just try to, mitigate the blame game. Let's just, we do have to do an investigation, find out where faults and stuff. We do have to do those things.
Right.
But how do we go forward from here? How do we solve this incompetence issue? Because it's not just with the Secret Service. It's not just with local law enforcement around the country. It's not just
the FBI. It's everyone. It's all of them together.
It's all of us, man.
It's all of us. Yeah. You remember after 9/11, they started that you see something, say something thing.
Yeah.
Well,
That was happening at the rally, brother.
right. They missed it. I mean, I don't know, man. The fact that it happened to anyone, not even, let's just take out Biden and not take out, but let's not talk
Take
about
that out of the equation. Yeah,
Biden or Trump. The fact that anyone could be, any leader could be assassinated or attempted to be assassinated in our country.
That easy.
Bothers me.
That easy.
It bothers me because, that kind of stuff happens normally in third world countries.
It doesn't even happen in
America.
Russia. It's the government. It's the Russian government that does that to themselves.
Right.
So
And
that kind of stuff doesn't even happen in
It's
Russia.
been, 40 years since an attempt has happened here?
Yeah.
Before that, I guess they said we had the curse of the zero. So you remember that? You know anything about
No.
that? Most presidents elected in the year that ended with a zero were assassinated or attempted to be assassinated.
No kidding. Well,
Yeah. That's a real thing.
huh.
And it supposedly started with a curse from a Native American.
No kidding. Well, that's interesting. I'm going to have to look that up when we get off here. That's crazy.
But
I see where you're going with that. The fact that something like that can happen in 2024 when we got facial recognition, you got software out the ass.
cameras
Like, okay,
everywhere.
dude, you don't need, like when we go to the theme parks, we don't even have to stop at the X-ray machines anymore. We just walk through, and they are able to identify.
What's on you?
Yeah, it's the neatest thing you ever saw. Now it's not. I didn't see that at Universal Studios, but I did see that at lots of the smaller ones where they have
Well,
X-ray machines.
You know,
that just
used
walk
to you
through.
have to take your keys, your cell phone, all that. You don't have to do
Yeah.
that anymore because
Yeah.
they can identify what those items are.
Yeah.
It's so strange to me. Even they should have had a drone in the sky watching over.
I didn't even think about drones, like in that right now, like let's just say we know the MQ-9s can do that.
Absolutely.
We know the MQ-9s can, you don't even have to see or hear them.
Right.
And like nobody will ever even know they're there and they can see those things.
And that's minimal cost. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And those MQ-9s also have the software that nobody has to, like they can be autonomous and just, they can see targets.
Right.
And alert.
So, I don't know. I'm not going to say it's a conspiracy. I'm just going to say it was a failure on all from the top down.
And it's not the first time we've seen that happen.
Oh, no.
In recent years. I mean, let's be honest. Like you and I were talking about last night on the phone, or was it today? The pullout of Afghanistan.
Right.
And that whole disaster, it's very easy to blame like a conspiracy. But the bottom line is what most people don't want to believe. It's sheer incompetence is what it is. Sheer incompetence. And like the government's not going to come out and say, they'd rather you believe that it's a conspiracy.
Right. And we won't know the whole truth. That's the problem. And like you said before, we don't really want to know the whole truth, but we need to know how and why this happened.
Yeah.
The why, so we can divert it in the future.
Yeah. Identify it before it happens. Yeah.
Right.
And that's it's becoming more and more obvious with these type of incidents. This is the first time something political has happened in a very long time, but like with school
At that
shootings
baseball
and stuff.
field that time
Yeah.
with the senator a few years back.
Yeah.
I can't think of
I
who
can't,
it was.
yeah.
But, they're rare occurrences anymore.
Yeah.
how do we keep people from becoming extremist? Now, we've got rhetoric from both sides, you know.
Terrible rhetoric from both sides.
You know, the left calling Trump Hitler.
I had talked about that.
Right.
I had talked about that in a previous episode. Ashley and I, we were talking about the debate.
Right.
And I had said neither one of them could stick with the issues.
No.
Neither one, like them or love them or hate them, neither one of them could stick with the issues. They sidestepped all of the issues and went directly towards each other.
Right.
And I told Ashley, I like their politics, their policies. Trump's got a lot of rhetoric, but their policies are kind of similar.
Well, the good thing about this election is we have knowledge of how both sides run, both of those two run the country already. We've had them both. So you know what you're voting for now.
Yeah. And I'll be honest with you, man. I'm going to probably piss off a lot of people when I say this, but I identified. Now, see, this is where it gets difficult for me because I don't mind Biden's geopolitics, and I liked Trump's domestic policies. That's
Right.
where I have to walk the line because I can't consciously vote for Biden. I just can't do it. That guy cannot run the country. In my opinion, he shouldn't. I can't believe that there's not any votes of no confidence right now.
I think there are. Like Chuck Schumer came out today and demanded that Biden step down.
He should.
And
And I don't even care if it goes to Kamala. She can't do any worse right now.
no, I don't.
She'd only have a few months left.
Right. But here's the thing. What we need to do as citizens is educate ourselves. Educate ourselves to the point where we stop radicalism.
Yeah.
When we see somebody going too far one way or the other, we have a conversation with them. Hey, come back here. Let's talk about it. Let's find a middle ground. Let's find something we can agree on and work out from that.
So, and I think that starts is dialogue, right?
Right.
Like right here.
Absolutely, because you can't solve a problem without dialogue. If we just shut up and go our separate ways, the problem's not solved.
Yeah.
We're going to go further that way.
The problem, and another problem with this, the only people that I can't sit and have a conversation with, a logical, thoughtful, open dialogue conversation with is a lot of younger people.
Right.
It's not, I don't meet any lefties on the left that I can't sit down and have, a conversation with without, where that line is where you disagree and
Right.
you understand in that conversation that you're not going to change that that person's opinion. So you just, okay, well, we'll agree to disagree. That doesn't happen with younger people.
No, because they're worried about their feelings more so than anything else, than what's real.
Yeah.
And the thing is, most of our feelings aren't based on facts.
Yeah, that's true.
We feel one way or the other by mostly what our parents told us if you grew up in a decent home. Because parents will instill in you their values. So when you get older, you still got those on your back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot of us, as Gen Xers, we were just raised by the neighborhood. We,
Yeah.
when we got up, get outside, don't come back till street lights come on. You fended for yourself. Well, they call us the generation of feral children.
Yeah, I hear that all the time. Yeah, dude, but hear me out now. I'm a millennial. I'm an
Right.
older millennial.
Same
But
age
I
as
identify.
Trump's vice president pick, huh?
Yeah. He's so I think he's a little older than I am. I think he'll be 40 this year. But that's insane. Like, I admire that on a certain level as long as he's not an extremist. I don't know much about the guy, but I admire Trump being able to say, okay, this guy here, He's young, but he's got a lot of experience, man. Now, like, listen, I'm 39 myself, and I don't. Can I do that job? No. Not because I am not willing to. I don't have the knowledge. I don't have the proper politics. Like, I would generally tell somebody to fuck off if I don't like them. You know what I mean?
Right.
And you can't do that as a politician.
Well, that's the thing. Most of us, especially at home, we lead with emotions.
Yeah.
And again, that's your feelings. So you in politics, you got to drop those emotions at the door. You got to drop those feelings at the door. You got to operate on what's fact instead of how you feel. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I'm gonna give you a little pushback on the President Trump here, because that guy leads with his feelings a lot.
Well, both of these two do. I mean,
Yeah, well, Joe Biden.
Joe
I don't
Biden
think,
leads with somebody else's feelings.
I was
believe.
gonna say I'm not. I say this, and I've been saying it for the longest time. It feels like the lights are on, but nobody's home, bro.
Especially from the debate on.
It really hurt my feelings. Like, you know how invested I am with that war in Ukraine. You know how emotionally invested I am in that.
Right.
And hearing President Biden call Zelensky Putin, man, that hurt my feelings a little bit. And I
think it
just
hurts
want to
Zelensky's and
clear the air
Putin's
here.
feelings also.
I'm not a leftist.
You're not a rightist
but
either.
I'm not a righty either. So
Right. Neither am I. I watch the debates closely. That's how I decide who I'm going to vote for.
And now
Every election cycle.
From this last debate. Now we might be able to get something. I think Kamala and JD Vance are going to do a debate. I think Kamala Harris is kind of dumb myself, but that's only because of I don't think she has the capability to speak publicly. So she may be the smartest person in the world, but just not have that ability to speak publicly.
I think, people make fun of her laugh, and I think her laugh is a nervous laugh. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't think it's necessarily
But it
that
makes her
she's
come
attacking
off-
it, but it makes her come off as
Yeah.
psycho a little bit. I have a nervous laugh. I've had drill sergeant, why are you smiling? Because I can't help it.
But let's just be honest too. She's a good-looking lady. Yeah. So I'm gonna put that out there. I think she's a good-looking lady.
Right. But she's decent.
Oh, now. Listen,
She got that caramel colored skin. That's pretty attractive. But
I think that those two will be able to stick better to the issues. And if they do that, then we'll understand a little bit more of where they're coming from. I think that's important, is to stick with the issues, because I really don't give a shit about Trump's personality. I know who he is. He's a narcissist. He's an arrogant, pompous. He's a billionaire, man.
Yeah.
He's a billionaire.
like any other billionaire would be.
Yeah. And he got to be a billionaire by being that way. So we know who he is. We know who Joe Biden is. Like, he's been a politician for over 40 years.
Right.
We know who the fuck they are.
Absolutely.
Like, let's hear the policies, because I don't know what about Biden's, I don't know what there is to like about Biden's domestic policies. His domestic policies suck, man.
Right.
And they are not for the American working man.
Absolutely not.
Let's just take the infrastructure bill. Dude, I cannot afford a new electric car.
I can't either. And the fact that he wants to build 2 million new homes in the United States to drop down housing prices. You heard that?
No.
He just put that out yesterday.
Yeah, let's look at the quality of the homes that you're going to put up, and then the prices that the corporations that are building them are going to charge, because that's become a more common, like corporations owning everything.
Right. And, the thing he done with the student loans, it doesn't bother me that we reduce some people's student loans. Not at all.
I stand to benefit from that. Like, we have student loans. I don't agree with it.
Right.
I agree
Supreme
with the public
Court said
service.
it's unconstitutional. Not going to do that. He done it anyway. But making someone like the grocery clerk over here at Speedy's pay those taxes to
Yeah.
drop the loans for those people that...
Well, it goes a little bit deeper than that too. And I'm not I've researched this on a whole different level because we do stand to benefit. And I wanted to know,
Right.
I wanted to be able to articulate my argument for it, but I don't have one. And because I've researched it a little bit. So, public service loan forgiveness, I absolutely believe in that. And I believe it should be reformed a little bit. And that's where we still stand to benefit. We still, my wife is in public service.
Right.
So, we still stand to benefit. I believe that that's as far as it should go. I think they should have reformed going forward on the interest rates, how the loans are given, and then for all the other ones that are they could just simply just forgive interest and make them principal only loans. We could do that. We could do that. But the thing about forgiving them all and all the billions and billions of forgiveness, where that's going to hurt is in the banking.
Right.
Because banks have given these loans at the behest of the government. These are government subsidized loans. And if everybody defaults on those, it's not just the government that's going to pay for it.
No,
it's all of us.
interest rates are going to go higher. They're going to have to print more money, basically, to cover that, which is going to then again increase interest rates. So we're going to have to tax more to cover that. It's going to be in my mind, it's a snowball going down the hill. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Gonna get
A
larger
kick
and
the
larger.
can down the road kind of thing. And we'll just be honest with everybody about that. In my opinion, Donald Trump isn't any different at kicking the can down the road.
No.
As far as now, Afghanistan, I kicked the can down the road. That was he did more though. I think I'm not really prepared to speak on this because I don't know exactly what Trump did and what he didn't do to pull out of Iraq or Afghanistan, not Iraq. But I do know that while he was in office, he said multiple times, we need to have an exit plan. We need to have an exit plan. We need to prepare for this.
And I think he had spoken with the Taliban. They were agreeing on things. From what I've seen, one of the congressmen, I don't remember his name, the guy was talking on air. He said Trump sat with the interpreter and the Taliban leader.
Oh, I think I remember.
Said,
Yeah,
I'm going to kill you if you harm one hair
on an American head. Yeah.
And the interpreter didn't want to say that, but Trump
No.
would
Yeah.
tell him.
You tell him.
And then he pulled a picture of his house out of his pocket, satellite photo, and walked out of the room. Do I think Trump would have done that? I don't know, but
I think
that's
he
pretty
would. But we
intimidating.
need that. We need that though.
We need that kind of power.
Honestly, right now, okay, so let's talk about this real quick, and then I want to move on to that list because you brought a top 10 thing, a top 10
Gallup
list,
poll.
Gallup poll of things that Americans are worried about right now. I want to get into that, but let's talk about the type of leader we need right now. And I want to say there's a photograph now, an iconic photograph. I'm going to have it in the studio. I'm going to print out this awesome ass, and I'm going to have an American flag right next to it. Donald Trump at that Trump rally being surrounded by Secret Service, an
Fist
American
pumping.
flag waving in the wind behind him with his fist up in the air, blood running down his face. I'm going to have that on my studio wall because it's very inspirational, because that is how I feel as an American. Bite me. That's all I got to say. This is how I feel. Donald Trump captured exactly how I feel as an American Saturday, right after he got shot at. Now, you could call him a narcissist all you want to, but I've watched numerous videos. I've talked to numerous people. I know lots of veterans like yourself, and they've all said the same thing. When the bullets start flying, you really find out who a person is.
They're metal. That's what we call it in the military.
There
Find
you
out
go.
somebody's metal.
And not even 60 seconds after somebody threw a bullet at him, he was up with his fist in the air saying, "Fight." No, he had an earpiece in his ear, probably knew that there wasn't a threat at that moment, or otherwise they wouldn't let him stand up.
Well, I think he could probably hear the comms
Yeah.
from the Secret Service that was down there, even if he didn't have an earpiece in at the time.
But I mean, is that not how you feel at the moment?
Yes.
Fight, brother.
Absolutely.
That's how I feel.
That's how we said we talked about on the last episode I was in. We're angry. We're pissed off. Let's fight for what's right. Let's fight for the American people.
And right now, the line between right and wrong and good and bad is becoming blurry because of our feelings, and we need to just step outside of that shit and say, look, you say it all the time. We all live on this big old ball of dirt together.
We got to take care of each other. Yeah. That's real. I mean,
and you look at what's going on around the world today. I believe we're right there if we're not in the beginning stages of World War III, we're right on the edge.
I believe we absolutely are. And
what kind of leader do you want walking
I
through
want
that?
someone strong. I watch news outlets from around the globe just to see what others think of us.
Yeah. I do too. I watch a lot of the other side to see what they're saying.
I watch the other side as well.
I watch, like you're saying, BBC and all them. I like and Australian news outlets that, I mean, they have no stake in the game, so they just spouting, they just saying the facts.
Right. And I watch the other side too. I watch Fox and CNN and Newsmax and the AP. I look at them all.
Sometimes I watch RT.
The truth is not what's pushed to the front most of the time. It's what's hanging back there in the back that they're all talking about.
Yeah.
And you can find those facts if you look at each outlet and then behind the main story.
Yeah.
Right?
What are they saying differently and what are they saying the same?
Most of the outlets around the world, besides American, they're all pointing at how weak our president is. And that's scary to me. Because that's supposedly the greatest leader in the world is that position.
Yeah, and when you have a weak leader like that, it just makes all the other...
He may not be weak. We just know what we see. The optics
Yeah.
are that he is, and that troubles me.
Well,
I mean,
to be honest, I don't think he's running the show anymore.
I don't think he has been for a while, but
I think they're just riding on what his policies were a couple of years ago.
just those optics, though. That's why Putin was so quick to jump across Zelensky's line. Zelensky looked like a comedian.
Oh, now you listen
the country.
to the rhetoric coming from Putin nowadays. He's not trashing either side right now, and that should scare everybody.
Right.
He's being nice about he's being nice about President Biden.
After all those ships went to Cuba and
Yeah,
the Chinese
he didn't even talk to
balloon.
us. He didn't even talk to us about that. They just now obvious. So they do it every few years. It's not that big a deal. Like what they had down there, it was one of their quietest subs and one ship and a tugboat.
But with nuclear capacity.
They did nuclear capacity. They didn't have any. They weren't armed.
We don't know that, huh?
We don't know that. But that's what Cuba said. They called us.
Yeah.
Said we don't want this.
But wouldn't you say that too? I mean, if you're trying to be strategic.
Yeah, but
We don't know what's true. They're not going to tell us the truth. We're not going to tell them the truth.
boy, that goes into a whole other subject about nuclear weapons. And like, I'm not afraid of nuclear weapons. I'm going to tell you why. It's because if you're threatening me, if you're threatening me, and saying, well, I'm just going to blow you to bits. If you don't agree with, blow me up. I don't care.
Yeah.
I'd rather, now I don't want the whole world to burn. I don't.
No.
But I mean, if you're going to threaten to do it, I'm not going to kiss your ass. Is that like, like all the rhetoric coming out of Russia, like, man, dude, I don't think they know that they're talking about using the little ones, which
right.
Nobody, like, all nuclear weapons are bad, but they're talking about using what are called tactical nukes, battlefield nukes. And, like, why? There would be no point to it. Like, there's no battlefield use for them. There just isn't.
No.
Not over there, there's no practical use for them. So why would they even do that?
Just a scare tactic.
Right.
We talked before about how our government lies to us. And I saw a guy say something that made me think. He's like, he's the leader of the free country. And he lies to us.
Yeah.
He said, I'm the leader of my house, and I lie to my kids all the time. They don't need to really know what's going on. And
yeah.
I feel that way. I mean, to an extent.
Yeah, on some things, like, but they don't on the things that, like, so it's different when your kids call you out on your bullshit,
right?
And they really see what's going on. They call you out. Do you keep lying to them? No, that's right. You don't. And
well, Dad, I found all the Christmas presents in the closet.
Yeah, Santa Claus
really coming?
Yeah, and our current administration, yeah, you bet your ass he is. And they would
it's going to be great.
They would go out and spend $5 million on a new aid package,
a cover
for Christmas. Yeah.
That's the scary. I'd rather you don't have to be. To me, you don't have to be completely transparent, but you still need to be honest.
There you go. We're Americans. Like, we can be honest. We're probably the only damn country in the world right now that can be honest.
We don't need to know all the secrets.
Let's take the Ukraine conflict, for instance. Like, right now, if the Biden administration at the very beginning, if they were honest about why they were doing that, they would have had support. Right. The right side, the right-leaning politicians, they had support. The reason why is because, we're gonna fuck them up. Yeah. They were being honest about it. And like the politicians, neither one of them give a damn about Ukraine's sovereignty. That's not what it's about right now. At this point, yes, we do care about Ukraine's freedoms and Ukraine's sovereignty. We do care about that.
Right.
But it's more about weakening Russia at this point. Like, let's be honest.
I'm sure on some level, but I think there's more to it.
There is a lot more to it. Like, they're trying to prevent.
Like I said,
I think they're trying to prevent the second coming of the Soviet Union.
We don't have to know everything, but be honest with what you do give us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't just
kind of like the UFO shit. Russia can piss on one of our airplanes or one of our Reapers.
Right.
And it can dump a load of fuel on one of our Reapers, and we get that video less than 24 hours later, right? They capture balloons flying across the United States. They get up close to them. Oh, we'll never see them.
Right.
and it's classified. Why? Why? You show a bunch of Russian pilots bumping our planes and shit. Like, why?
Why can't we see the rest of it?
Yeah. Like, you aren't even supposed to be over the Black Sea.
Yeah, that's us. We talked about that earlier. When parents, back in the day, when at school, you get in trouble, parents would be like, well, what'd you do?
That's what I do, yeah.
Now parents are like mad at the teacher.
Yeah, yeah, I talk about that quite a bit, man.
It's a little weird, man.
Well, I always back up the school first because I know my children. Like, you know what I mean? You know, and so let's get to that list because
right.
you got a list of the top 10, a Gallup poll of the top 10 things America's worried about right now.
Top 10 issues American people. Number one on that list is immigration. It just moved up to number one. It was number two in February. Now it's number one. And I think it moved to number one after those 8 ISIS people were caught in California.
Okay, I didn't know about that. I haven't heard about that. I've been off my. How long ago was that?
That was last month.
I didn't know about it. So
Now, they
I
caught
got to do
known
some research.
terrorist in the United States that supposedly crossed the southern border.
That's not surprising.
It's not. I believe we've had them here. I believe there's sales around the nation like there was,
Yeah,
on 9/11. That's not.
I could see where that'd be the top number one priority because of right now it's open.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We've seen people from all over the world crossing our southern border. Those people are catching planes to somewhere in Mexico or Venezuela, and then
You know what kills me though is
coming
they
up
use
through our southern border.
all this fancy equipment on us here at home, all this facial recognition shit and proximity warnings on our phones. They know where we're at, and so they can do all that, but they can't identify the people coming into this country.
Right.
That's sad, bro.
And it's
And I think might be. You want to talk about conspiracies? There's a good one. Being done on purpose.
right.
They're letting them in just to have what we call a catalyst.
My phone by itself, if I take a photo of you, it'll ask me if I want to tag you.
Yeah. Yep.
Without me putting who it is, it knows you.
It's crazy. I didn't know that. I got the same phone as yours. I'm gonna have to start using that feature, and I'm gonna be like, "Who is this person?"
It's crazy, the technology we have just in our hands.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I talk to people all over the world on that thing.
right.
It's neat.
In real time.
Yeah. There might be like a 15-second lag, but
I don't even think it's that much. 3 to 5 maybe.
no. Yeah, you're right. Like a 15 millisecond, maybe.
But
You're right. 15 seconds is a long time. I mean, you could do 30 seconds, like to the moon and back. So.
When I was talking to my wife last week when she was in Spain,
Is it
was
instantaneous?
Instantaneous.
Yeah. That's pretty neat, ain't it?
That is, we couldn't have
It's
done that
crazy.
when I was a kid. I mean, you know what I mean?
Well, you could when I was a kid. But,
Right,
Like,
but-
that wasn't that long ago.
You're a generation younger than me.
You feel old?
No. I actually feel younger now than I did
When
10
you were
years
my
ago.
age? Yeah. I feel that. Like, I feel better now than I did in my whole 20s, And it's because I can't afford to eat.
I don't know. I got the aches and pains of a 50-year-old, but not the mentality. You know what I mean?
I tell you what, I deal with more mental bullshit than I do aches and pains. It's hard to stay motivated with the kids I have.
But I agree with you that it could be some type of catalyst to try to start another war.
Where, though? That's the question. Where do they want to go?
Well, the fact that Chinese people are coming across the border,
Taiwan?
Taiwan, Iranians, Irakians, Palestinians, Pakistanians, Somalians.
You think Europe would be okay right now? You think I think NATO's got Europe under control for the most
Ish.
part. Yeah.
We'll go with ish on that.
I mean, we're going to find out. Like, I believe Donald Trump will be the next president.
I do too now.
I still don't know who. Like, if the DNC pulls out a black horse, I still don't. I still don't know. I got to be honest with you. Sometimes Trump scares the shit out of me with his
absolutely.
rhetoric. So I don't know.
But Biden scares shit out of me too.
Biden scares the shit out of me because he can't stay awake, like in the middle of conversations. Like, that's it. Like, if that guy was competent, I already, like, the last 4 years, dude, no, I can't tolerate another.
Well, what I look at is how my pocketbook felt between now and then, when Trump was in office. My pocketbook was better then.
It's very weird because, like, you're from Tennessee and you vote like a Missourian.
I grew up
Like,
a Democrat.
Historically, Missouri's a swing state.
Right. I grew up a Democrat. My grandfather lived right next door to Congressman Ed Jones, a Democrat grassroots guy. I used to mow his yard when I was a kid. That's how close we were, and had that instilled in me.
Yeah.
When I got in high school, a girlfriend's dad challenged me on something, and so I done some research, and that's how I became who I am, I guess, as far as political values. The left and the right are mostly wrong.
Yeah.
In my opinion. Most people aren't for extremism in the United States. We all just want to get along.
Yeah.
We all want to be left alone for the most part, especially my generation. Leave us alone. You don't want to wake us up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because we're a little crazy. We're psycho. Like I said, we're the feral kids.
Your generation brought us that movie Red Dawn.
Right.
Yeah. So.
We want to be left alone for the most part. You believe what you want to believe. We don't care. You be who you think you are. We don't really care.
That's right.
But
leave me the fuck alone. That's how I like. So some people were trying to explain to me like that's libertarian, like you do whatever you want to do and I'll do whatever I want to do. Well,
I mean, kinda.
It is ish,
Right.
ish. Like I believe in back when I was being told these things, like I have a completely different feeling towards law enforcement now than I ever have. And it's because I've seen the lack of law enforcement and what that does,
Right. Man,
we live with some crazy ass sons of bitches nowadays. And like everybody wants something for free. Like, they don't understand, like, ain't nothing free.
Since those stimulus checks were a popular thing, it's...
Man, I tell you what, like, did you know that added $2 trillion to the U.S. debt, like, off, like, right from the get-go?
Right. And now we're all paying for it.
Right. And it added another 2
Right.
in interest.
Right. Our interest rates, our interest payments are now more than the military budget.
That's insane. Because we should be spending, like, I'm one of those people that I think we should be spending a lot more
On military.
on defense. Like,
Right.
I believe, like, what do we get? What do we, like, almost at $1 trillion now per year?
On interest?
Yeah, what's second on that list?
What's second on the list?
Yeah, let's second on the list.
The government.
Okay, so that goes into what we're talking about right now. The United States deficit, like right now. So I don't think that it's an issue that can't be fixed. I don't think so. I think we're talking about Project 2025 a while back.
Right.
And how I think all of that is baloney, and I don't like it. But there are a couple good points in there. Like, we need to dissolve some of these government jobs.
There's some good ones. There's some bad ones. This is real time. Debt clock. Anybody can look it up.
Wow. What's the website?
It's usdebtclock.org.
Oh, wow.
It breaks it down.
Holy hell.
Right.
It's wow. This is real time and it's moving.
Right.
Wow. Wow. That's not even per second. That's like
Milliseconds.
yeah. That's insane, brother. Here's something nobody else talks about, though. Like, we are owed way more than we owe.
That's our U.S. national debt right now.
Yeah. See, I'd like to take that number, right, and have it going the opposite direction, right?
Absolutely. But here's the thing. They don't call that out when they're talking about our national debt. Because
now, I know you guys can't see what we're talking about, but these numbers that we're talking about, what is this debt clock? usdebtclock.org. Now we're looking at this, and these are numbers of the national debt. Now a lot of these numbers don't make sense to me.
I can make it.
There you go. Yeah, so we're watching these numbers in real time, and they're just like, none of these numbers mean anything to me. But
All right.
it's just crazy. Like the U.S. national debt is...
That is the interest of our debt.
That's insane. So this green number here is the U.S. gross domestic product, and you see how much smaller it is than this number?
Right.
It's like...
And the thing is, they subtract that from that to tell you what our national debt is.
Yeah.
That's their...
Let's just say these are very large numbers that are incomprehensible.
about $100,000 every second.
Yeah, that's insane. Every second, $100,000. Every second, $100,000. I could do a lot with $100,000. Now, could you imagine if it was going the opposite direction in the green, $100,000 a second? Now, that's how the government should be thinking: is how to make it go green, right?
Right. I'll send you the link so you can post it on there if anybody ever wants to look.
Yeah, Ashley, our editor, I'll have her link that website in there, usdebtclock.org. And
you can see debt per person, everything on that list.
Now, yeah, that's pretty transparent. Like, I don't know. I owe a lot. I wish I didn't, but I'm an American. What can I say?
But the second major thing on that list was government. And and this is a bipartisan poll. It's the Gallup
Yeah, I was
poll.
just talking about, like, the bureaucracy bothers me because it takes us so long to do shit. Like, Ukraine needed help as soon as that, like, and it wasn't because they didn't try. They were trying. It just took a while, because of the way that our government is set up. And then you got logistics, right? The logistics of getting it there is a nightmare because you got to pull all these, like, they didn't know where all these, like, let's just use the 31 tanks that they gave them. That's not many tanks, but then you got to worry about, like, we're giving them old shit, like, that it's getting ready to be decommissioned.
Right.
And, like, where is that coming from? What do they may have one tank over here, one tank in Texas, one tank in Alaska? They got to get all that shit together before they send it too. Yeah, what do you got? Oh, how much money? How much money does the U.S. give to Egypt? $50 billion in military aid, $30 billion in economic assistance. Is that per year?
Yes.
That's nuts. Could you imagine what we could do with, like, okay, there's 144-ish countries in the world, and how many of those is the United States government giving money to? Now, could you imagine,
With our national debt, it's sitting at $34 trillion.
if they gave, like, okay, so the United States provides Egypt with more than $50 billion. Like, could you imagine if they gave $1 billion to each state and said, fix the roads?
Right. Or took $1 billion away from everybody we're given that kind of money to put toward our national debt.
I mean, I'm assuming that's why we have a national debt. But,
That makes no sense to me.
no, everything's so backwards.
That would be like you buying your neighbor's groceries before you fed your kids.
Yeah, that's a lot of homeless people do that.
Right.
That's why they're homeless. But I noticed that with like I knew some people that were homeless and they were like, oh, I got to give this to a friend and to give like, why? You have no home.
Right.
You
And
know.
and you're hungry.
You know, right?
I get that. And that's one policy of Trump's I love is the America First policy. We have to start thinking about us first.
But we can't like we use the airplane analogy. It fits here.
Right.
You know, you got to put your mask on before you can
put
help the
somebody else's
person next
mask.
to you's mask on. You got to take care of yourself first. And dude, like listen to us right now. We're sitting here like a bunch of fucking old hens bitching about our country and bitching about like I love my country.
I love my country too.
I think the government's fucked up. You
Absolutely.
know? And that's
On both sides.
Number two, on like if you ask the majority of Americans, number two on that Gallup poll is government. They piss us off. They treat us like children. They take all our money. Like,
Right.
like out of $1, that damn dollar is taxed so many damn times after all the taxes, I might actually have a quarter of it left. Maybe.
Right.
Maybe.
The original dollar, they tax it when you get it.
Yeah.
They tax it when you give it to someone else.
Several times.
The company you worked for was taxed before you got it.
Yep. Yeah.
Then you got to pay sales tax. And then if you bought something worth value, you got to pay property tax on that again. You never own
Back
it.
in the 70s, you couldn't have gold. You know.
So it's, you get a quarter of your actual original dollar.
Ain't that some shit?
Ish.
Ish.
And
Ish.
that depends on what you purchase.
And then everybody wants to brag
And
about.
then if you leave it to your kids, they're taxed.
yeah, they're
Ridiculously.
taxed for dying too.
Right.
Yeah, there's a death tax. That's the craziest damn thing I ever heard. And we allow all this.
I think why people are so pissed off at our government, and that's number 2 on the list, for me anyway, is because,
They don't do a damn thing for us.
well, and our government currently, instead of sticking to the real issues, the economy, the immigration, all of that, instead of sticking to the real issues, they're catering to social issues. People's feelings, a lot of stuff that don't really matter.
Yeah.
You know, keep your feelings to
And they're feeding it.
yourself, or keep it in your house.
It's feeding it,
It is, absolutely.
making them louder and louder. So we have to listen to them. We have to deal with this shit. I don't. You know how many times I get tired of correcting my kids because they say something stupid that they learned at school about social issues.
Right.
I'm like, don't talk like that. You're going to get punched. You know,
No.
not by me, but
We did social studies when I was in school.
yeah, today's version of social studies, you know what it is the kids sitting around talking about what the teacher's political preferences are.
Right.
That's it. Like nobody gives a shit what your political preferences are. If
But
my kid knows
we
your
had a
political
kinda
preferences, you
standardized-
failed as a teacher.
Book that talked about social issues across the globe.
Yeah.
This is this country's standardized social issue. This is ours. This is theirs. And it talked about the differences between them. Here, now, there's so many social issues because of social media.
Yeah.
Basically,
And it's, you know, they
you
don't,
can't put it in one textbook.
no, and they don't, it's like they're not teaching the younger generation how to think. They're teaching them, they're really not teaching them much of anything because them little bastards don't want to learn
They're not
anything.
teaching them how to think or be a leader. They're teaching them how to follow.
Yeah.
And
And it's so cool to be part of like the voting process, like the voting process for national politics is so overblown. Like we are bitching about the presidents, and
Right.
if people really understood how little they matter in your everyday life, it's like your local.
what matters most is local.
Yeah.
At your local and state levels.
And you know
that
how many
matters
people-
way more than your presidential.
You know how many people show up?
Hardly at all.
Like 10, 15% maybe.
Paul and I, we vote regularly in all of the elections around here. We show up, usually the polls are empty.
Yep. The last one I went
never
to,
had to stand in
the
line.
last time I went to when we legalized pot, and that was, I had to wait. I had to wait in line to vote. Now, I hadn't seen it like that since I was a kid.
I've never had to wait in line.
Man,
to
I
vote.
remember,
But
I
go
remember
middle of
when
the
I was a
day.
kid, though, voting was such a cool process, man. They had these little fucking, they had these, the voting booths. They were red, white, and blue. They were
With the
stripes.
punch cards.
Yeah. You remember that shit? Everything was so patriotic and lovely. What happened to, I also like that about the Trump campaign. Like unity.
Yeah.
The unity party. That's like they're trying to be the unity party now.
I've been preaching that for how long? How many years?
I heard
Community
I heard
unity?
at that Trump rally the other night. USA, USA, USA. Now you could look back in your text messages or our Facebook group message, and I remember me telling you that
Right.
the other day. Like I miss hearing that. I'm so sad that it had to be under those circumstances. But damn, that was very powerful when I heard that.
And a lot of people ask me, and I say a lot of people, but my daughter asked me why I'm so patriotic. Why would you love our government? I'm like, I
don't
do
love our
not
government.
love our government. Our government is wrong more often than they're right.
Yeah.
Because you got two people fighting for stuff way outside of the scope of what we give a damn about.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't care what anybody's pronouns are. I don't care if you have them.
Yeah.
I'd rather know your name and know you on a personal level.
Yeah. Yep. That's me. Me too. I
That-
don't care.
But we will be called transphobic or homophobic because of that.
I was called a racist not the other day, a while back for asking somebody where they're from. So,
Right.
you know, I just, it's beyond me.
The labels have gone too far. Let's go back to Webster's dictionary from the early 70s. Let's use that for our guidelines, for our definitions. It's changed.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's changed way outside the scope of reality.
When somebody asks me why I'm patriotic, I say, I love the people of this country. I love this country. I love how free we are. And I've never been outside the United States.
I have.
I've never visited Mexico. I've never visited Canada. I've never visited Europe, China, Russia. I want to. I want to visit all those places. However, I have a unique perspective because I visit and talk with a lot of people from outside of the United States. And I listen to what they have to say. I listen to what people have to say while they're living in other countries. I mean, like, you don't want to live here, like,
I've had somebody recently talk about, well, France and Spain have free health care. But my wife was just in Spain.
yeah,
The working man gets taxed over 50% for the people that don't work and to cover that health care cost.
yeah.
More than 50%. And the health care, although it's free, sucks.
And they still have all the same taxes, sales tax, property tax. They have all that shit too.
Right. So off top, the working person has to cover the non-working person plus the health care,
Yeah.
plus any education.
Now, socialized healthcare
roads?
doesn't suck everywhere.
No, but they were talking about in France and Spain. It's not that. I don't know. I agree to some extent we should take care of each other as far as healthcare.
We do.
We do need healthcare reform. And we need insurance reform.
Yeah.
That's-
That's a big one. So, I think scam reform.
Scam reform. Like, why charge my insurance company $100 for a Tylenol? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And then you're going to wait to see, like, they negotiate price, dude. They start high and like they play that game, right? Well, your insurance company tells you, okay, you got to pay a 20% deductible, right?
Right.
And then,
or your copay, whatever it is.
That's your copay. Well, they don't. The hospital waits and they negotiate with your insurance company to find out what the insurance company will pay, and then they just charge you 20% on top of that.
Right. It's a scam.
Yeah. Yep.
100%.
And but there is a lot of issues with socialized healthcare, you know, and like who's going to pay for all the advancements in science? And that's a big one. That's a big one. Like free enterprise, because of our healthcare system, free enterprise creates competition.
Right.
And competition creates innovation. And that's important. Now,
And socialized healthcare would kind of stifle that, I believe.
yeah. Like, well, look at Russia. You know, they used to have the number 2 military in the world. Now they're not even the second best military in Ukraine.
Right.
So it's like that stuff happened because of corruption. That stuff happened because of government intervention in every damn thing. And you don't want government. I think Ronald Reagan said the joke best. You know, he's like, the worst thing you can hear is like, I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
That's the absolute worst.
Because government bureaucracy, like bureaucracy ruins all. It's not just the government. Bureaucracy ruins all kinds of shit. It ruins big companies from the inside out.
Absolutely.
And you could be, man, I could be the proud owner of my company, right? And I build it up to this massive thing, and then I sell it off, and it becomes a bureaucratic mess, right? I'd eat up that company from the inside, make it not any different from all the others. Just a big heartless corporation worried about money.
Right. And
which, I mean, at some level you have to.
You have to. You got to keep the lights on.
Right.
You want to take care of yourself while taking care of your people. And there's a fine line there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you got to cover insurances, overhead.
And that just like that's why that's the number 2 thing that like everybody is so feeling so strong about. It is government, is because all the bureaucracies, all the, you know, America does need to be first, because we're not even last right now, brother.
No.
They don't even care about us. Like, it feels like the infrastructure bill, there was so much pork in that son of a bitch. It's like, what are you doing? Like, we're not building a damn thing, man. We're not.
Big problem I got with the Congress and all that, with all these bills they put out.
They make them so long, nobody's going to read them.
Nobody's going to read them. And this bill's for veterans who don't want to help veterans. But in there, they got money going to Argentina.
Timbuktu.
But
and
they name it the veteran bill, but they got so many other bullshit things
hidden in that infrastructure bill is infrastructure for other countries,
right?
Who are, you know,
already owe us.
financially living better than we do.
Right. So
I don't understand how like our infrastructure here is getting so bad, man. When the wind blows, my power goes out.
That's a thing I was talking about. Be honest. You don't have to be transparent, but be honest. If this bill is for veterans, make it only for veterans and put what you want in there, and create a separate bill for sending money to Timbuktu. Or a separate bill for roads.
Oh, we're going to be here forever. Then do that. Charge us for overtime. You all are rich anyway.
And another thing on the second one, government, I think a lot of people now are calling for term limits in the Senate and Congress that they weren't doing before.
Yes.
We don't need lifetime politicians.
You know what I think is also a bullshit appointment is lifetime Supreme Court judges. I think that's some nonsense too.
I don't know.
Give them 20 years.
I neither disagree nor agree on that. I'm indifferent on that.
What's that?
20 years in the pen?
Yeah. Some of them, maybe.
I'm a bit indifferent on that because, you know, it's a lifetime appointment. They still got all those other justices they got to go around. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that's true. That's true. I didn't think about that. Like, you know, it's lifetime appointments for all of them, but they're also retiring. They're
they're
dying.
They're normally aged.
Yeah.
And they've been around But that's another complaint
And they're
from
really smart.
That's another complaint from the younger folks. They want all the old people out. Let the younger people, let fresh blood in.
I thought about that at one time. Like, I wonder if like the younger folks would be any different. I don't think they would. I don't think they'd run into any like as younger folks we lead with our feelings a lot more.
Absolutely. We haven't learned how to wrangle our feelings.
Yeah, you say that as an old guy, but
I still haven't learned how to wrangle my feelings. I feel passionately about so many things.
Me too. Yeah,
And my wife is an HR lady.
yeah,
It's kind of odd.
Yeah, mine too. And it's like, like those loose lips sink ships kind of deal.
Right.
It's like that with you. Like you got to watch what you're saying. Why? Like,
Why? Right. I'm an HR nightmare. You are too. So opposites do attract, I suppose. But I say things often as I feel them. I just say them out loud. Sometimes I don't even mean to say them out loud. I'm just thinking out loud because I process different,
Yeah, me too.
And that has been an issue between us. No, don't say that. Why? I'm not lying. It's my thought.
Well,
I
here's
don't care if you care what I'm saying. I don't care if anybody cares, but that's my thoughts, how I feel, and I'm just blurting it out. If you like it, you like it. You don't, you don't. We don't even have to argue about it. I ain't even got to share my point of view. But I'm going to say it, especially to her.
Right.
That's my spouse.
one quick thing before you move on to the next one. I know, like, we've been on this one forever, but
Well, actually, the next two go right in line with the government. We've been talking about them. That's
Well-
number 3, economy in general, and number 4, inflation.
so one thing that everybody needs to keep in mind when they're dealing, like, a lot of people are upset with the government. We are not our government, and that's one thing that you could say, like, next time somebody asks you why you're so patriotic and why you would be for the government. I'm you would be mad at the government and still love your country.
Well, what I tell them, and Paul would tell them the same thing, we've been all over this world.
Yeah.
This is the greatest country I've been to. I promise you. Now, I've seen some great places overseas.
You ever been
I've
to
seen
Prague?
No.
Yeah, I want to go there.
I've seen some amazing things. I saw the top of Mount Fuji from a plane.
That's cool.
Pretty amazing. But I don't want to live there.
Yeah.
You know, good place to visit. Don't want to live there. My favorite place in the world is Pigeon Forge, Tennessee.
That's one of my favorite places in the whole world, too, and I ain't been many places.
Anything you ever wanted to do, or if you just want to be isolated, you can do it all right there.
Exactly. That's a good way to put it, because you're up in the mountains, right? And you're secluded and be by yourself. You want to go get something to eat in town. They got a lot of great restaurants there, and you can go to town, eat restaurants with a bunch of group of friends and whatever. And then you can go ride a mountain coaster.
Right.
And then after you do that, you can go zip lining at night. Isn't that crazy? That's crazy. I love that place.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how every culture comes together there. Have you noticed that?
Yes.
There's no...
The only place I've seen it a lot different, like cultural wise, like it was almost a shock at how cool it was. Like Chicago. Going to Chicago and seeing how diverse Chicago is. Holy crap. Well, I thought Kansas City was a melting pot.
Right.
Wow. I heard so many different languages that I'd never heard before.
Well, both of those are touristy areas.
Yeah.
About 2 places we mentioned.
Well, the Smoky Mountains, if you did not know this, is a really cool fact about the Smoky Mountains. It is the most visited national park in the United States.
I didn't know that.
That's
And I just
real
think
shit.
that's to get the moonshine. No, I don't.
A lot of good
steals out
moonshine
there in them Smokies.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yes, sir. What's number 3? You said economy?
Number 3 was,
Or
I believe it was economy. Yeah, economy in general. Number 4 was inflation.
yeah, we've talked about I beat the death out of those two things right there, because that's I feel that the most. Like,
We all do.
I'm so
Especially now.
I'm so broke. The last 4 years financially have sucked for me. Now, granted, a lot of things have went well in my life, so I can't bitch about, like, I bought a house this year, you
Right.
know, and like money's coming in, but it's not going near as far, and I'm struggling because we had a side gig for fun, right?
Right.
We started a side gig for a little extra money on the side, you know, a couple of years ago. We now need that job.
Right. That's the thing. At 9% inflation, our paychecks hasn't risen also the 9%.
Yeah, I talk about that a lot.
That's the problem. So your cost of living goes up while your paycheck stays the same. That hurts every American household. And it doesn't matter how much money you have or how much money you have invested. That hurts everyone, because most of us were counting on that money going so far,
Yeah.
and it doesn't now.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Like, we were counting on this paycheck was going to go towards this, and this. All our bills are covered, and then we'll be able to take a little fun money at the end of the month and go do something. Me and my wife haven't been able to go out on a date in so damn long. Like, we went out for our anniversary on July 3rd.
Right.
Well, we couldn't afford to go. We just had to go. We just had to. There's so many things that you got to do, and you know, like, dinner with my wife was more important than penny pinching. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so we got number 3 on the list is economy. Number 4 is inflation, which those two go hand in hand. And we've
number
also
5 also. That's poverty, hunger, and homelessness.
Holy shit. Like, the homelessness issue it's difficult right now because there's so many people that are not chronically homeless that are homeless.
Oh, yeah.
There's so many people right now that aren't choosing to be homeless. I mean, but before, like, let's be honest, the chronic homelessness can't necessarily be fixed as easy because there's a reason why these people are chronically homeless.
Right.
But the people who aren't chronically homeless, that are just homeless due to circumstances or lost a job, paycheck, you know, we're 2 paychecks away from homeless ourselves.
Or drug addiction.
Drug addiction, you know,
That's
mental
a big
illness,
deal.
all that stuff. There's,
Like, look at the streets of Seattle now. Have you seen those videos?
what's that? What's that city up there? The big experiment. I can't even remember. They occupied the town, Portland.
Portland.
Yeah, look at Portland's gotten so bad they're starting to take it back.
Right. No, they have to,
Yeah,
because everybody's become
violent, dude.
violently drug addicted, and now they got the,
Oh yeah, you want to talk
fentanyl.
about fucking drugs, boy? They got rules up there. Like, if you see a kid coming, you just turn the other way and you don't use drugs in front of them, right? Yeah, they don't. They
I
ignore
was
that.
watching a live feed, them showing just the needles on the ground, on the street, and then now they got this new drug called Trank that
Yeah, it's been
supposedly
around a while, but it's
making everybody like zombified
yeah, like,
on the streets.
I don't understand all that, man.
I mean,
I really wish sometimes, like, I could sleep for a whole 8 hours. You know, when I
I
go to
don't
sleep.
remember the last time.
but-
Well, I had COVID. I slept for 15 hours straight.
Oh my gosh, man!
That was the
like,
best sleep I
but
ever
I
had.
felt like I got hit by a Mack truck.
Right.
You know, but man, I'd like to sleep for 8 hours a night, but that's, you know, that's neither. I can't imagine wanting to be asleep most of my day like that. You know, I was addicted to opioids for a couple months. I don't know if you live here or not. I was falling asleep all the time, just drooling all over myself. It's when I had that circular black table out here. I was falling asleep, drooling all over the fucking place, and like, I had to go pick up the kids one day, and I couldn't function. No, it was OxyContin, and I was taking it for back pain, right?
pain.
And of course, I was a big old fat guy, and you know, none of the doctors wanted to be honest with me and tell me I needed to lose weight, but that's what my problem was. I had a bunch of family members telling me, but no doctors.
No, That's another thing, you know, that
Oh,
bothers me is
hearing people like the
Doctors
body
tr-
positivity shit, that
Yeah.
bothers me because I'm a fat guy and I'm like body positivity ain't helping me.
No.
It ain't helping me at
Again,
all. I know I'm fat.
be honest.
Yeah.
That's all everybody needs is honesty, whether it hurts my feelings or not. That's what we all need.
I love that, man. Honesty is, I say that all the time. If people could just be honest, number one, with yourself, makes things a lot better.
And an open dialogue with, our First Amendment,
Yeah.
right? With honesty and an open dialogue, we can make some positive changes for America.
I was watching one of those reels though, like this lady, like she was crying because her doctor fat shamed her. I'm like, that's what he's supposed to do. Like he's supposed to let you know.
Shaming if he's telling you, hey,
you got to lose some
your
weight.
weight is unhealthy. That's not fat shaming.
You're going to die.
He's just being honest.
Your joints are gonna, your joints are gonna kill you when you know.
The calcium between your joints is gonna
Gone.
blow out.
Yeah. What do we got?
We're on poverty, hunger, and homelessness. We talked about homelessness a little.
Hunger, man. That's there's a lot of food insecurity going on right now because the price of shit is so.
Oh, yeah.
Like we go to the damn store, dude, and like I can't afford to buy groceries. Like I can't afford to buy groceries and pay the bills.
Well, did you see the guy that on some video he posted his bill from 4 years ago?
I did see
and
that.
he just reordered, and it was
Like 3 times as much or something.
three
Like,
times or four
yeah.
times as much.
Yeah, that's insane. So
So-
I believe that's why hunger's happening here.
I'm eating ramen noodles sometimes now. I did anyway, because I'm the world's oldest teenager.
Let's just be honest. Ramen noodles is a delicacy sometimes.
Right.
Like, all right, now I'm gonna sound rich. Like, when I was a kid, we grew up frickin' poor, dude. We were so poor that ramen noodles was a delicacy at my house.
Yeah,
Like,
well,
if we didn't-
did too.
if
My
we didn't
mom would
grow
make
it-
us.
If we didn't grow it, shoot it or catch it, we didn't eat it.
My mom made us grilled cheese with bread and stuff she got from commodities or whatever.
Yeah.
We love that cheese. You know what I mean?
I buy it on purpose these days. Like, really, I go to the store. You know, like, you remember government cheese?
Yes.
This is a processed American cheese. I buy it in slices. Like,
Yeah.
the just the block of sliced cheese, not individually wrapped.
Right.
That's the greatest shit ever, dude.
Right. But we the thing is, we were poor. We grew up poor. We didn't know it.
Yeah.
For the
Well,
most
I knew
part.
it, but like I didn't know
I
it
knew my
until-
mom said we can't get that.
Yeah.
And I just had to deal with it.
But everybody I knew was like that.
But
I didn't know it was life for me.
I didn't know it any other way, So
So
I
what
was
do
okay.
what do we got on number 7? here?
Unifying the country is number 6.
Oh, that's number 6. Unifying the country. We've been talking about that like this whole time too. Like the unification. I think that's a big one because we all need to learn that opinions are different and it's okay to have them. And it's essentially what the First Amendment is. Like you don't have to like my opinion
Right.
and I don't have to like yours.
And we ain't even got to argue about it.
No.
We can still be friends.
you say something that I don't like. Oh, okay. Well, let's talk
I
about
disagree
something
with
else.
that.
Yeah.
Or we can talk about it because maybe you got some insight I don't have. Maybe I have some insight you don't have.
There are so many things that we've talked about in the past that we didn't agree on. Ultimately, after we talked about them, we talked.
Changed both our minds.
Yeah. Yeah.
We spent a lot of time in this area
Yeah.
talking over world views and how we felt about things, and we've both changed a little bit. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, you heard me saying like pre-2021, like I think what we need is another global conflict. And you're like, maybe. And and then that happened and I'm like, oh shit, no, that's not what we need.
Right.
You know?
But during global conflicts, our economy gets better normally.
Weird how that happens. And I've heard people say that the military industrial complex doesn't exist.
That's a lie.
Yeah, it is.
It's another lie
That's a
they tell us.
damn lie.
But unifying the country, I think I saw something this morning. It was kind of odd. It says, men are raised and taught how to treat a lady.
Yeah, I saw. I think I saw-
Women are raised and taught what to expect from a man
but we never raised.
instead of
We never raised men to expect
From a woman.
What
And
know
a-
what to expect from a woman.
a woman to know how to treat a man. We don't raise them that way.
Yeah.
That's part of the unity issue in all of America. We all worry about how us and ours feel instead of, and we shouldn't so much worry about how other people feel, but we should give them the platform to let us know how they feel and why they feel that way.
Well, if everybody remembered the golden rule, we'd be all set there.
Do unto others before they do unto you.
No, that's not what it
That's
is.
close.
Do unto others how you would
Have them do
have
unto you.
done to you, and that's the long and short of it. I hear this all the time. You never know what struggles another person's going through. And
Right.
you've seen me do this a million times out in public. I'll have a shitty day going on, and you'll know I have a shitty day. But somebody asks me while we're out in public, "Hey, how you doing?" My response is usually something like, "I'm wonderful. How are you?"
I'm fine.
No, I don't say I'm fine. I say, "I'm wonderful." Give them a smile, even if I got to fake that smile
I say
for a moment.
fantastic. I say that word a lot. I like that word. Fantastic.
It always throws people off, don't it?
Right.
Like, "I'm wonderful. How are you?" And they don't know what to say to that. And I smile, and it makes me feel better. It makes me feel good, and that's why I do that. But I noticed the side effect of it. It makes them feel good too.
You're probably doing it to make them have a better day, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Sometimes they don't.
yeah. And that's a selfish thing for me. And I look at it like that. It's a very selfish thing for me. And I like giving to people and charities and stuff. Like, it's a selfish thing for me.
Right.
Because it makes me
too.
feel good.
Makes me feel good.
Yeah, and
But
I'm honest about it.
If you always say I'm great or I'm good or I'm fantastic, in America, that's true. If you've been to a third world country, you'd know that's true.
Yeah.
If you're starving over in Ethiopia, those people don't have food. Like, they're not worried about the cost of it. They're worried about it getting anything.
Yeah.
Porridge from the United
This
Nations
is so
is
dry and
are people getting beheaded in the Middle East because their belief system isn't going along with what they're told it's got to be.
right.
So here in America, whether we're having a good day or a bad day, we're doing fantastic. I promise you. And that's another reason I'm a patriot.
I see people bitching about like, "Oh, America has homelessness. America has this, America has that." And I'm like, listen, even our poor people are fat here.
Right. And the thing is,
Like, I know that there is hunger and food insecurity in the United States. I do know that's a thing. But for the most part,
there's a pathway away from that.
yeah, for the most part, here in the United States, our poor are taken care of for real.
Right.
I feel that
I
they
mean,
are.
with the food kitchens, the
Yeah.
welfare system, if you stack all of that up in the food pantries around town,
Yeah.
you can survive.
Yeah.
And they're opening up shelters like everywhere.
You know what nobody thinks about nowadays? Like, so you can still buy land and go live on it. You can do that. This is
Right.
America. So
And national parks, you can set up a tent.
that's crazy.
Huh?
You gotta leave at 10, but
So what do we got? Unifying the country. What's the next one?
Number 7 is race relations and racism. And that, I think, goes along with
I think a lot of that
unifying the
stuff's
country.
changing these days.
The thing is, I think we have a...
I think DEI is institutional racism.
Absolutely. But I think if we just, like I said earlier, we're open to conversation. We try to understand everyone. It doesn't matter, black, white, yellow, red. I heard a preacher once say it like this. If God made people from dirt, which is what the Bible says, he got dirt and made Adam, right?
Put a little sugar in me.
There's 5 colors of dirt. There's 5 colors of people.
That's-
Red, yellow, brown, white, tan. That's the 5 colors of dirt. It's 5 colors of people. We're all just dirt.
For real. For real.
We're all just dirt.
I mean, if you we could take it even further than that. We're stardust, man.
Yeah.
For real.
So racism shouldn't be a thing, and neither should transphobia or ZZers and they
I think,
thems. And
I think they make
I don't
themselves.
think we care.
I think
a
they
lot
make
of them are
themselves- it's-
wanting to be important.
Yes.
That's really about what that is.
Yeah, that
But-
they want to be seen. Like nobody gives a shit, no, and I think they know that by now. Like nobody really gives a shit. They just got to be like, you hate me, and I'm like, no, I don't. I just get out of my face. You know.
I love everyone. I literally
too.
love
I love
everyone
everyone.
What'd you say before? I love love.
I do. I love
100%.
love. And that may be one of the corniest things that I say all the time. But
Right.
like when like at weddings, dude, I don't cry at funerals. I cry at weddings. You
I
know,
cry at both.
because I know that guy's life is over. But no, but I get teary eyed, and I can't. There's nothing I love more than a good love story.
Right.
And I
You
think
watch Hallmark with the wife?
no, sir, no,
I do.
sir. I watch football with my wife.
I watch football with my wife also.
She gets on her. She likes those reels and TikToks and
Right.
all that stuff. So she'll sit and do that while I'm watching like a political documentary or history documentary or something. And I'm really trying not to. I don't really give two shits about politics other than the ones that do affect me. You know. And I think
That's
now
most people. I mean,
I think right now that local politics is important, but right now national politics is important because of what's going on in the world.
Right.
I think everybody should educate themselves on history in particular, because
Absolutely.
what's happening right now in America, social, all this shit's happened before. Like, I don't know how many young people realize this, or how many old people realize this. Like, they're living through it for the second time in their life, or the
Right.
third time in their life. All this shit's happened before, you know.
my dad
and
used
it
to
never
tell
went
me,
anywhere good.
Anything you're going to go through, I've already been through it, so you can come to me for advice. And I used to think, oh, bullshit. But
Yeah, like that's
right.
I've
Now-
seen a lot of those posts when Russia.
I feel that.
Yeah, when Russia invaded Ukraine in 2021, I saw a lot of posts on Facebook and X, and at that time it was Twitter. A lot of those posts, like, hey, Gen X people, reach out to your millennial friends,
Right.
Because we've never lived through anything like. Now I'm on the older end, the millennial. I remember, air raid drills and all that shit. Like that was still happening in the early 90s. So what you got there? 19 minutes ago.
Joe Biden has tested positive for COVID. I don't
Oh,
know how to go back to that.
it's that little one at the bottom there. See it? Joe Biden has tested positive for COVID-19. That's not good.
Earlier today, he said he wouldn't step down unless there was a medical issue.
Oh, imagine
That was
that.
earlier today.
2 hours ago, maybe.
Yeah.
So this is from CNN. President Joe Biden has tested positive for COVID-19, according to President and CEO of Unidos US, Janet Murgia. Hopefully I didn't butcher her name. Biden was expected to speak at the group's conference in Las Vegas Wednesday night. I was just on the phone with President Biden. Now see, this sounds like bullshit. It sounds like complete bullshit. Like, he's supposed to be here at this place and supposed to be there at this place. He said he wouldn't step down unless he had a medical issue. And now all of a sudden he's got COVID, which, when's the last time you heard of somebody getting COVID?
I mean,
I know it happens, but still.
yeah. I actually last week, one of
You're not helping here.
my wife's
Now is not the time to be honest.
people said they got COVID, but it's a 3-day thing now.
Yeah.
It's not even a week of quarantine. It's a 3-day thing. Just stay off your feet for 3 days, drink a lot of fluids. the same stuff they tell you when you got the flu or a common cold.
Well, in any case, get better soon, Joe.
Thank goodness you got boosted.
It's and you know, just as much as Trump, you know, I have those strong feelings for Trump now because he embodied everything that I was feeling on that Saturday. I have love for Joe Biden.
Right. Like I told you when we were on the phone call, I would have been just as pissed if somebody had shot Joe Biden.
It's a little bit different from a sitting U.S. president, like emotionally for me. But then it'd be like Grandpa, you know. I feel like, you know, I feel like Joe Biden is that guy now. Like he's your old frail grandpa.
I may have been more pissed if they shot Joe Biden. I don't want them shooting anybody.
Yeah, like that's a sitting president. You know, like I'd just rather not.
Well,
have
and then we'd have Kamala Harris as the president.
Yeah, well, you know, I'm not.
We don't know how that would go.
At this point, I'm willing to give her a shot because old Sleepy Joe's sleepy.
Well, the thing is, we got to watch the vice presidential debates because that's who's getting put up next. It's either going to be J.D. Vance or Kamala Harris.
I feel like I've
depending
got
on who
more in
wins
common
this
with
time.
him. He's from Appalachian Mountains,
Right.
you know. And what do you got next?
Federal budget deficit. We already covered
We've already
that.
covered that. So
Crime and violence.
I don't feel like crime and violence is that. Like I think it's going back down. Like it was high there for a little bit, but it's not. It's just being reported more. I feel.
I don't know. Depends on the area. The
California,
larger cities,
California is nuts.
the larger city, New York, they've gone nuts.
Do they do a lot of smash and grabs in New York now?
Yeah, mostly. Well, in Florida, New York, I was watching the thing about the immigrants.
Yeah.
You know. They getting busted
shit! I
with
didn't
the-
even think about that. Yeah.
With all the rape charges, the murder charges, the smash and grabs. And
Yeah.
that's sad,
A lot of property crime too.
but that's real.
What do you got on number 10 there?
Elections, election reform, and democracy.
Yeah. I don't know. That one's getting scary.
Right.
That one's getting scary.
We
because-
know for a fact that people can hack those digital voting machines. Why use them?
Yeah. They can hack those things.
We
and-
know for a fact people can stuff ballot boxes on the street.
And they
so
do.
why do we have
And they
them?
do. And then the mail-ins.
We know for a fact
Like, well,
that
the
if I
mail-in
got a
thing
mail-in
was-
ballot for my grandmother, I can fill it out however I want to. And
Wasn't that
send it
thing
back in.
like originally like for COVID? Like now that's over?
No,
And-
well, mail-in ballots were originally for military because when we were overseas,
that's only military though, right?
It used to be. When we were overseas, we got our mail-in ballot.
But it was all secure coming from DOD.
Right. That's what it
Which
started for.
DOD is
people-
nonpartisan, right?
People out of pocket during the election,
DOD is nonpartisan, right?
supposedly.
That's what kind of worries me about the FBI handling this investigation on the assassin, Trump's assassin. That bothers me because Trump spent a lot of time talking shit, and the FBI right now works for the Biden administration.
But my point about this, bringing this list here, is these are the issues they should be talking about.
Yes, sir.
Both sides. Not
I agree.
who's got the better golf game or the better golf handicap, or
And
not,
I want to, in
hey,
this order.
He's lied here, he's lied there. They
This
should
is
be
a-
talking about this in
This
this
is a
order.
good order. I think maybe if we could switch the elections and election reform and democracy, if we could switch that with number 7-ish, I'd be okay
Right.
with that.
But this is in order of the Gallup poll.
Yeah.
So
I think if they stuck with those issues, yeah, we'd be in business. But I don't think either of them. Will. I do think Biden or Trump will stick with the unification because it's
especially now.
Yeah, and he was before Saturday happened. He was preaching unity. So, and I agree with him. I think we like and right or wrong, love him or hate him. Like I was a lot better off during Trump's presidency.
I was too.
Economically, I think the world was in a good place when Trump was president. And I can't say if that was because of Trump. I just can't. But I can say that his policies while he was in office, and I talk about this all the damn time, if he didn't have to defend himself so much about the shit he said, if people would attack his policies instead of the person,
His character,
they
yeah.
wouldn't have anything to bitch about, because he did a lot of things that not everybody can agree with. But like look at NATO. NATO's a big one for me because I don't think he went at that maliciously.
Right.
I think he went into it with the intent of what actually happened. NATO is building itself back up. I think he went into it and said, listen, if you guys don't start pulling your weight, we have to back out, because if something happens, we can't cover you.
Right.
Bottom line. He was honest about it when he went in there. He was a little gruff about it. You know, nobody liked the way he said it, but he got results.
But it was real.
He got results. Now, look at Germany, man.
Right.
They're building their military back up. Look at France. France is talking about if Ukraine asks, they will give soldiers.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean,
Poland's one of the biggest militaries in the world now.
right.
How the hell did that happen?
Because the Nazis are gone.
Amen. Amen to that. And
Did you tell him about this?
what's that? Oh, yeah. I haven't gotten a chance to watch that yet, but Amy Adams, I got a thing for her.
Do you?
Yeah, that redhead in there. Yeah.
It's a good movie. It's a great movie. I was shocked. I want to read the book because it's probably closer to the truth than
Yeah.
the movie. They had to leave things out and put other things in, but
Yeah, I've never been to those areas, but I want to, simply for the people.
right.
You know, I actually know some people in Appalachia, and I've talked with them. I love that culture. They're just
There's good people everywhere.
yeah, there is really, and
Most people care for more than them just themselves.
yeah, and that goes for everywhere around the world,
Right.
even communist China.
Well, I talked to a friend today at the bank, and he was like, he had just went to visit his son who's over in South Korea. He's like, man, those people are so nice.
Yeah,
I'm like, yeah, they are. Till you piss them off, you know? But
yeah, yeah. They got a lot of So they got a lot of cool shit over there. Like their industry is really building up and building up. Like
South Korea's
their
fun.
their cars are getting a lot
lot
better.
better.
Like
Kia
I think
is-
they're working with Japan now.
Kia's jumped up on the
Oh yeah, I think
Value.
they heard me. I think they heard me. It's because they were just using the Chinese model of junk, push it out, shove them out, you know. And no, you got to worry about what Toyota did it right. Toyota sources a lot of things. Like most of the things they sell here in the United States is built here.
right.
You know, so I only their high end
My
vehicles.
truck was built in Tennessee.
Yeah, they're high-end vehicles. Toyota's high-end vehicles. Those come from Japan.
Right.
But lots of times you even have to special order those.
Right.
So, but yeah, I absolutely agree with you. If they've stuck with the issues, like in all the debates, any of the debates, if they stuck with the issues, the Democrats couldn't have won in 2020. I don't think they could have won in 2020 if they stuck with the issues.
If we look at, and I hate saying this, but if you look at Joe Biden's history in politics,
He's the same guy as he always has been.
he's absolutely done nothing for our country that's good.
And he voted against a lot of things that he's for now.
Right. But he's only for it when it
When it can help him.
Joe Biden has been a shyster from day one. He said that in the 80s when he was being interviewed. You know, the guy said, a young guy that hadn't been corrupt yet. He actually said, I don't know if you can call me not corrupt.
Wow.
So I have to take him for his word on that.
Yeah. And then
People
you got all
complain about Joe Biden lying and Trump lying. All politicians lie.
Yeah.
We
For real. Now, I'm going to say this again. I'm still undecided. Like, I'm
not undecided. I will not vote for Joe Biden.
I'm not going to vote for Joe Biden. I'm
RFK is
undecided on
not-
whether I'm going to vote at all.
RFK's not going to be.
RFK's too fragile.
He's not going to be up there where he needs to be. So I will definitely be voting for Trump.
He's got
this
a
time.
worm in that brain, you know.
I'll be voting for Donald Trump.
And I
'Cause
respect that.
I think that's the best pick for America.
I respect that. Now, the only reason I'm still undecided is because there at the end, Trump had a massive failure with COVID.
Yeah.
And I don't know. He didn't handle that well because of his ego.
Well, I think he tried.
He doesn't listen.
We were talking about it earlier. When they started talking about COVID, he wanted to ban flights from China. They called him a racist, and
they should have done that.
didn't let him.
And then
Matter
he
of fact,
said the
Nancy
China
Pelosi
virus.
went to Chinatown saying,
He said the China virus, and everybody was like, "What is it? That's racist. That's xenophobia."
That's not racist.
Do you know where
That's
that was
not
coming
xenophobic.
from? Do you want to know where that was coming from?
tell me.
The Communist Party of China. That's where that was coming from. They felt offended
Right.
because somebody was calling them out on their bullshit, as everybody should.
Right.
Apparently, my TV shut off here.
Here's the thing, dude. Get
I bet my
offended.
phone died.
We got to stop worrying about if somebody's offended. Get offended. What happens?
Right.
So what?
I don't.
If the truth offends you, check yourself.
For real. For real. Yeah, I think it's there's some of that rhetoric that Trump has that I agree with. There's some that he has that I don't agree with. But for the bottom line is, for me, during that, like, I did not know that. I honestly didn't know that they didn't allow him to shut down flights from China. I didn't know that.
They didn't. Nancy Pelosi went to Chinatown talking about how Trump was a racist. It's not the Chinese fault and all this.
Really? And on the back end, they were funding that research lab.
Here's the thing. The two-party system is so corrupt because both of them want to be right all the time.
Yeah.
Instead of working together for what's good for our country.
The common good, yeah.
I think the first thing we should outlaw is the party systems and start really making people debate straight up so you know who you're voting for.
Lobbying.
Oh, yeah. Lobbying's got to go. That's... Who gives a shit about... I'm not buying... That you should not be able to buy anybody's vote in Congress, in the Senate,
Yeah.
or at the executive level.
It just makes me want to not buy your product either. Like big companies,
Right.
like big tech,
Put
going
those
in.
dollars into advertising if you think you got the better product.
There you go.
Put
there you go.
those dollars into research to prove that you got the better product, and then post those results.
Yeah,
Lobbying is bullshit.
I agree. And then a lot of people said like they should have to wear jackets, like racing jackets, with all their sponsors on them.
Right.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That's. I mean, if we just got down to both parties want to call themselves grassroots. If they really got down to the grassroots, they would quit all that party, loyalty shit. And be loyalty to the American people.
Donald Trump's not loyal to the Republican Party either.
No.
No.
And Joe Biden, I don't think is loyal to the Democratic Party.
I like that about him. I got to be honest with you. Like back in the 90s, he would have ran as a Democrat.
Absolutely.
So
Well,
it's
when he had that epic talk with Oprah back
I didn't watch that.
You should. Oprah asked him if he was going to run for president back then.
And he said no. I do remember like that clip.
He would have ran as a Democrat then.
Yeah. And so he was working with the mob back then. I'm just saying. Like, you want to look at how you want to see how the government's ran. Michael Francesi, check him out. Like what does he say? He's got a book, Mafia of the the Mafia States of America or something like that, or something to that effect. I'm paraphrasing and I can't remember, but Michael.
You've got a YouTube channel.
Yeah, Michael Francese, he's got a YouTube channel. You got to check it out, man. Like, he's an old mobster that it's a very successful mobster, went to prison and everything, and he's got a very interesting take on the United States government. They operate just like the mafia.
But if we did away with political parties and people ran on their
Merits
and their values.
and their value. Yes.
Stop the DEI bullshit.
Yeah.
Because
That's institutional racism at this point in time. Like, it had its purpose, and it's
Right.
outserved its purpose now.
That's-
I think it's gone the
that's
opposite
sad.
direction now.
yes, absolutely. I'll show you something funny. I might have sent it to you already.
If it's just audio, yeah, that's no shit.
Right.
I
don't want to put that out there, but
I didn't even want to talk about that because it might hurt feelings.
It's sad that we feel that way.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's the truth. It's. Yeah. I'll say this. Do you? So in that iconic photo, there was a woman.
Yes.
A woman. Secret Service officer. She was right there in front. I think she did a good job.
Yes.
She was right there. She was right in front.
Trump pushed her down so he could do the fist pump.
Yeah. And,
Yeah.
But the fact that he was able to push her down, that's the fact that like, she's right there in front. She's also the smallest person in the group.
The one that was behind was the smallest.
Yeah, I didn't
Going
even
up
see
the
that.
stairs, yeah.
I didn't even see that.
That's the same one that was fumbling to holster their gun at the
Yeah,
vehicle.
oh yeah, that's freaking ridiculous. But I might hurt some feelings if I get into
Well,
that. And
I
everybody
mean-
knows, like, I'm equal rights and equal opportunity and all that. But there's
Absolutely.
just some shit you shouldn't be doing.
But
And it pertains to that meme right there. DEI hire.
meritocracy, and people talk bad about it, but we want the most qualified person.
Yeah,
Not-
you're damn right I do.
In every aspect of the work, like the wife flies a lot, and I'm like, you won't want a DEI hire flying that plane
Right.
ever.
No.
You want the best guy for the job.
Yeah.
Elon Musk said one place that DEI doesn't work is in sports. How many Chinese people we got on any football team?
Well,
You know what I mean?
how many white dudes are on the basketball team?
Right. So it's merit. That's the only way you get on those teams. You got to try out. You got to pass those tests. That's the way these jobs should be for especially flying a plane, protection,
Best man.
the
for
railroad.
job.
You know what I mean?
Equal opportunity just means, like, everybody should start at the same playing level.
Right.
And I think we do these days.
Equal
I'm-
opportunity is
There are places in the United States that I've not been, that life is terrible and, like, just shitty and it's not fair. But 5 miles away from that is a different story.
right. But equal opportunity also, doesn't that mean hiring the best person for the job, regardless of
Equal opportunity, yes, that does.
regardless of anything else?
Yes.
It doesn't matter if you're white, black, green, trans,
I think it started
a
from a
midget,
good place.
or dwarf.
I think it started from a good place. I really do think it started from a good place, but it's just we've outgrown it. And we have, if you're going to keep it, like, let's make some changes. Let's not cater to
The
you know,
loudest person.
Yes, let's not cater to the social pressures. Let's keep with the facts. If we got a food desert over here and it's affecting racial inequality, let's fix that damn food desert. Let's not feed the racial inequality. Let's fix the food desert. Let's fix the educational disparities.
Right.
Like I've always said this. Like in public schools, they give the funding to the highest test scores. It needs to be back. That's backwards.
Or the best sports teams. It's
Yeah.
one or the other. It's never the lowest test scores.
Yeah.
Let's give them some funding so they can get up on par with the rest of them.
Right,
And I
right.
think if we do away with the Department of Education and get it back to the state level, that's going to really make a difference, in my opinion.
In all states, like think about California and how it's like 46% liberal out there. Like they'll still be able to have their 46% liberal schools.
Right.
It'd be their state, you know.
Right.
And if you want to live that way, go live in California, go live in New York, go live in populous St. Louis, or you know what I mean. If you go live in Chicago,
Right.
you know, places like that. That's where you're going to find your left-leaning people. But don't come down to my neck of the woods and try to push your way around and tell me how to think, tell me how to live, tell me how to believe. You know, just don't do that. Just leave me the fuck alone.
Right.
I'm not bothering you. Don't come down here and bother me. You know, like
This is my corner. Stay off my grass.
that's right.
You get off my lawn.
I'll invite everybody onto my lawn. Just
Right.
be nice.
Yeah, that's all you have to do. That's my thing. Everybody's welcome until you're individually causing a problem.
Right.
Then you gotta go. Then until you cool off, then you can come back.
And then we can have beer.
I've got no hate for any one person on the planet.
Absolutely. Well, brother, I think we've talked for a couple. I'm hotter than hell. It's hot.
That's a matter of opinion.
There's so many things that I like to talk to you about. I want to dig into other subjects. I want to dig into other things. It's just like when I talk to several people, like I talk to several people online on the Zoom calls. I talk to a lot of people,
Right.
I interview a lot of people, but you're really the only one close to home that I called and you were feeling exactly the way I felt. You didn't feel a hatred for anyone. You didn't feel a deep-seated anger that made you want to go out and murder, you know, or grab your pitchfork or anything like that.
Right.
You were angry and sad and disappointed and
And it would have
worried.
been the same if it was Joe Biden.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Party affiliation doesn't matter to me at all.
Seeing my presidents in pain like that, man, that's
All of our world leaders, I mean, not our world leaders, but all of America's leaders. I wouldn't want Nancy Pelosi shot in the head or Gavin Newsom or...
well. There's a lot of world leaders that I would be upset. A lot of world leaders I'd be upset
Right.
if something like that would happen to them. I was just talking earlier today with you, as a matter of fact, about Jens Stoltenberg. I think he's done a great job for NATO and bringing them together.
Right.
Now he's almost stepped down. I'd be upset about that.
We got to
Macron,
get past violence to make our point. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Because that doesn't make a point. If you're already to that level, you lose.
Yeah, that's what's going on in Ukraine right now. Nobody's winning. Ain't nobody gonna win that. It's about who can lose less.
Well, the last fist fight I got in, I think I came here and you were like, I won the fight, it felt like, but the day or two later when I'm still hurting, I didn't feel like I won anything. And that's the truth of the matter. When it gets to that point, nobody wins.
Yeah.
Nobody. You might walk away looking like the bigger man, but you still hurt. Everybody hurts. And on the world stage, that's a lot of hurt.
That is a lot of hurt, man.
We just got to pray for our country, you know,
Yeah.
that, you know,
And each other.
and each other.
I'm not a religious man, but I agree with the sentiment, power and prayer, power and thoughts and all that. Now I'll leave you guys with this before we sign off of here. It doesn't matter which side of the aisle you walk on, right, left, center. It doesn't matter what your sexual preferences are. Doesn't matter if you're a boy, you're a girl. Right now, all that matters in this country today is we're all Americans.
That's true.
We need to come together as Americans, put pride into every day. Not pride of one's country or pride And like, just take pride in yourself. Take pride in what you do.
Yeah, that's an old quote that I like is, the only person you can be better than, really, is the person you were yesterday.
Amen. Be a better person today than yesterday, tomorrow than today. And love everybody. Love yourselves. And for God's sakes, stop shooting at each other.
Right.
And with that, I love you guys. I'm out.